Go on the bus with us.
I don't know what you mean.
I think you can, nope.
Oh, that's,
There you go.
thank you.
Anytime.
Oh, hello, everyone. It's, gosh, we made it through the first of the year and past the holidays, and the holidays were good. And although I'm sure some of you were on the road during the holidays, and that wasn't necessarily a lot of fun. And it has been, today is the 19th, right?
I know.
Okay, so it's been exactly 1 month since I had my surgery on my eyes, and you'll see there's a tiny, well, I see it more than anybody else because when you look at yourself, you see those things. But they also took some stuff out of the forehead. And so my eyes are open again, which is nice.
Hey.
Okay, so just so you know, we are recording. We will record until we get to the part of the hour where we do show and tell, so that you don't have to worry about being seen in perpetuity with,
when we post the recording on
right.
YouTube.
Yes, because we will be recording, putting this on YouTube. So we are, I'm just sort of reading my notes here. We finished with the gratitude sale in record time this year, I think.
Yeah.
And we got everything pulled in 7.5 days of after order started. And
That includes that we were off for Christmas and the day after Christmas.
right.
So just wanted to say thank you to everybody
Yes.
for helping us. We got to pull some beautiful orders and took some pictures and put them on Instagram of all the things that were picked, and
Yes.
yeah, and I had fun with customer service and probably emailed a few folks.
Right.
Honestly.
Yes.
Um,
So this is Lynn, and she is, I don't know, we still haven't gotten settled on a title, but she does a lot of everything. And she also helped in customer service over the holidays.
Yeah, that was where I slotted in this year, which was following last year where we kind of got behind. This year, we really were able to keep up.
Right.
We thought pretty well and get everybody's orders matched, and some people who had wanted different things. We were able to do that, which was
Right.
great. And it went pretty well, it went very
Yeah.
smoothly. So
Yeah.
thank you all again
yes.
for being so kind to us too.
Right. Thank you. Because it's there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. Okay, so what are we doing? Most of you probably got our newsletter from last week, and we have a couple of new projects in process. And the first is Blockbuster, which is a mystery knit along by Boo Knits. And it starts on March 1.
Mhm.
And so Blockbuster, movies, that sort of thing.
That's the theme. Yeah.
So we're using Holston for this project. She used Holston. So it uses 5 skeins of Holston and 300 yards and 1 full-size skein. So this is the binge watch set. We have her original, which is silver screen. And then this one I
We all love this.
Yes, this is, I love this one. I love the colors of this one. This is documentary. So, Helen does a great job of pulling colors. We actually did this one together.
Yeah.
You, me, and Ivy.
Yeah,
And
It's
so,
always fun to make new sets.
yes,
Come up with clever names for them that
Right.
actually kind of follow on the theme, which,
right.
yeah.
So that's gonna start on March the 1st. The reason we posted this so early is in part because Boo is an English designer, and many of her knitters are in Europe. So we wanted to give them enough time to order and to ship to the EU. Speaking of which, I'm going to digress. It's not on the schedule of things to talk about, but for any of you who might be in Canada,
Oh, yeah.
we have a new thing with the Postal Service.
Yeah, they now have the option to prepay all duties and fees associated with shipments for a flat rate. I think it's $7 orders, and that's no matter what the value of the order is. So I'm very much looking forward to using that when I ship to my sister to save her having to pay $50 to $70 worth of VAT and customs.
Right.
fees.
Yeah.
Right, because the customs fees can be quite surprising. Sometimes things go through without any attention from the customs people, and other things go through and they want a lot.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to figure out any kind of pattern or notation that makes it easy or difficult. It's just random.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we found this out. Have you added it into the,
It's on the website. We sent our first one today.
okay,
Oh, cool.
so when you select shipping, there will be this option in the shipping area. Okay, the other project that is in the works right now is Papel Picado. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I think I saw Alina come on. She's Alina Episova is the designer, and it uses many skeins.
Alina, if you want to unmute yourself and chat, feel free. If you'd rather not, that's fine too.
This is the original set, and it uses this to go
Hello.
between, and this is the
That's the background.
yeah, the background main color. So
And
Is it this
you
one?
can unpin me if you want,
Remove pin.
and
And it shows if you can see.
I see.
Ah,
I'm
and
going,
There you go.
yeah,
you can show the other sample.
Yes.
Yes, you have the other sample.
Yeah, so this one was done in, I believe, part the old masters
Yeah.
set. Mhm.
Is that Miss Dad? He said, shh.
Yeah.
so this is,
It wasn't muted. And yes, it was.
so, okay, so that's one, and then the other sample is Alina's
When you-
Original.
original.
Yes. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I don't have the best light.
But, so this is the set that goes for Alina's. And so we have those, we have other options, we have, and it's,
It's a great way if you have odds and ends.
Yes, I did use leftovers from previous projects. I had a lot of them.
And it's also a great way to use part of your festive sets if
Sure.
you, and we've actually done
Yes.
some other sets together with that.
Each section requires one mini skein from whatever you have, whichever
Right.
festive hat you had from previous years or this year. and all the mini kits you have right now on the website.
Right,
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
And I've put a link to those in the chat for people who are interested.
cool.
Okay. So thank you for coming today, Alina.
Well, I didn't forget this time.
How did you come up with the idea for this one?
I just want to do something with mini skeins. I was very excited to do something colorful. And I had ideas about combining slip stitch and lace in a easy way and just
Yeah.
pop. And it reminded, I finished it, it was so bright and so colorful, and it looked like this papel picado folk art, Mexican folk art. And they create cut out sheets of tissue paper into various designs, and they hang them, and it's very beautiful and festive. So that's how I
Cool.
came up.
Yeah, that's great.
I love it.
Thank you. I'm going to unpin you at this point.
And I will mute myself.
Okay. And we also have another knit along coming.
But I don't know that the designer has announced it yet, so keep an eye out for next week's newsletter,
Uh-huh.
which will have more details.
Okay. So,
Sometime early, mid next week, maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
You'll be announcing Tuesday, and our
Okay.
newsletter will be Thursday.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Other things that are happening right now is that we're planning on getting ready to go to Stitches West in Sacramento,
Mhm.
which is the first full weekend in March, right?
Yep.
And you want to talk about what's going
Oh
on?
my gosh. Yeah, so this is more jack of all trades, master of none, right? For me, that's my assignment. So what we're doing right now is pulling together our samples and figuring out all the colors that we need to dye, so that we can have all of those things ready to go. And then the Stitches West is a special show. We can't just put everything in a truck. We have to ship it on pallets. So we have to be very thoughtful about what boxes on so many pallets and get them to the show floor. And then we have to build the booth from scratch when we get there. So there will be 4 of us going. And so, it's going to be a smaller than it's been in the past, but I'm super excited about it because it's the first show of the season, and we got a lot of notes in the over the gratitude sale. Looking forward to seeing you in
Right,
West. So it's
right.
good. I haven't been since before COVID. I haven't been since 2019. So I'm really looking forward
Right.
to it. Let's see, what do we have? We have also the new winter collection it's in progress right now, and those designs will be included. So
Right.
I'm busily writing down, keeping track of all of those things. So that die list is ready to go next week.
Right.
And that's the first thing. And then we have trunk shows right along with it.
Yes, we've got 2, 3 trunk shows in March, it seems to me.
Something like that.
One's in Texas.
Yeah, partnering with Alina's local yarn shop.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I think Bronnie will also be there at the
Yeah.
same time. And we have a trunk show in Florida, which is in a good yarn
Sarasota.
in Sarasota. I was trying to think, I think it's the 16th or 17th of
Mhm.
March, right in the middle of the month. It'll be Friday, it's Saturday, Sunday, and
Yes, 17th through 27th.
Right.
Is what I have.
right. And so I'll be down there for that trunk show. And then seems like something else is happening somewhere else.
And there's YarnCon at the beginning of April in
Right,
Chicago.
right.
So that's right at the.
Right.
Right.
So we've got a lot going on. And so when we die, we not only are thinking about Stitches West, we're thinking about trunk shows, and we're thinking about the next show after that, so that we don't have to revisit all the colors between one show and another.
So it's kind of a nice, like it's a mix. It's a little bit stressful because we have colors that we're committed to, and then there's time to be creative because you create
Right.
special colors for different shows. And we want to make sure that, and there's always the interest of being new or having fresh colors too at the
Right.
beginning of the year.
Right.
So there are lots of things going on, and we're all
Right.
thinking, and Helen is, she's a master of coming up with something. I need this, and I need it to be like this, a little bit in between this or that. I just kind of say, oh, can you make me this one? So that's just, she interprets the this and the other
Yeah.
this into actual colors.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you have special ones to dye.
Do a colorway for Stitches West this year. And I'm hoping that what I did the other day will work out. And I haven't really looked at it. I gotta take time to really think it through. And then I am going to do a colorway for a good yarn. And
you're doing some club color development as well.
right,
At this-
exactly.
All at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Inspired Adventures Club, our annual club, we are going to close that for new memberships as of Monday, the 23rd. So that's next Monday. So if you haven't signed up and want to, now's the time to get in. The first club installment will ship in March, mid-March, probably after you all get back from Stitches West. Yeah. There's got to keep.
Yeah, we have like a breathing week in
Right.
January, and then we all start going again.
Right, exactly. So I'm actually going to ask what.
There are a couple of questions first.
Perfect.
So the first one is, do you ever anticipate doing Intrepid with multiple colors in a skein?
I have done some. The issue is that Intrepid is a non-superwash. Therefore, it takes up color differently than superwash yarns do.
Mhm.
And I've actually done a few and was okay with some of them. There was one that I did that the colors were incredibly muted and sort of mushy. And so I wasn't particularly happy with that. So the thing with superwash is that it sucks up dye, and non-superwash lets the dye, it doesn't take up the yarn, the dye in the same way. So there's that. There are some non-superwash yarns that actually take up dye pretty well, and yearning it is one of those, but it's also a heavy lace weight. So some of it has to do with the twist on the yarn, the fact that yet has Killington. I do some variegated on, it has silk in it, and the silk will take up the dye differently than the wool. So that's part of why the Killington works in the variegated and less so on the Intrepid. So long answer. We'll see is sort of the answer there.
Yeah, you're still playing with it a little bit.
The other question was about your shawl. As you predicted, I put the link in the chat, and Maria looked it up and said that it's no longer available for purchase.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
It's vintage now.
it is vintage. It was designed in 2009, and it was actually this is my very first sample that I've from the beginning of Miss Babs, and I've worn it since 2009. And so Yet and Yearning is one of the bases that I've had the whole way through. It is, and it wears beautifully. And, you know, this,
Mhm.
I've never had to de-pill it. I've never had to do any
Mhm.
care, you know, any care.
It's light and the stitches
Yeah.
holds a block really
Yeah,
lovely.
It's,
Yeah.
so I'm sorry that the pattern's no longer available to purchase.
But there are a lot of lovely lace shawls out there
Right,
that would work well with Yet and Yearning.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Any other questions?
That's all I'm seeing for now.
Okay,
Helen was putting your yearning information in there. Yeah.
okay, I'm actually,
I have a quick question, Miss Fabs. This is Jude Morris. I was just delighted to order 4 of the mini bundles. I love the minis. I also ordered a festive set back last year. Is there any hope of having minis as an ongoing thing?
Yes.
yes. Yeah, we've decided to go forward, and in fact, we'll be taking many bundles to Stitches West. And so they're gonna be showing up at shows, and they'll continue on the website. We're in the process, Helen
Yeah.
pulled some colors.
I've made 5 repeatable sets of mini sets of 10s that will work beautifully for Papel Picado. We're actually gonna pick another set specifically to have a really bright, fun 10-color sample that we can have a second one to bring to Stitches West. I haven't picked that one yet. We're working on making those into the minis, and as soon as we have all 5 or 6 ready, we'll get those up on the web.
And I expect, at least this is what I've told Helen, is that I expect that we will roll into other sets as the year goes on. So, yeah, you can expect to see them, because, you know, they're sort of like these little minis. They're
They're
sort
so
of,
cute. They're like
Yes.
snacks.
but they're like, it's like baby shoes. You see baby shoes and you go, oh, they're so cute. I had a baby to buy them for, but you know, I don't want the baby. But you know, yes, they're lovely. They're fun. And it's just bits and pieces of color.
Mhm.
And that's what's so much fun about it. So yes, you can expect to see those going forward.
We had a question
Thank you. That's great news.
Good.
about Yowza in smaller size games.
Then the 200 yards.
Yeah, so we
Smaller
have the
games.
200 yards that we call mini, and we don't anticipate going smaller. than that.
You know, okay, so part of this is about labor and how much time you have available to have people do,
It's a lot of twisting.
yeah, and making of small things. So at this point, no, I don't expect to do smaller pieces, smaller
Games.
skeins of the Yowza.
They would be really cute.
Lynn.
Just kidding. Don't hurt me.
So.
Yeah, I was looking at some designs today that had small amounts and I was like, well, you know, it's a good stash buster and I have lots and lots of leftovers from other things that I'm happy to put in. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of the people who design festive sets, they'll say you can use DK weight or you can use your fingering weight set doubled.
Yeah, you could certainly do that
Right.
and blend that together with you use Yowza and then 2-ply held double
Right.
would work great.
So any other questions? Okay,
Maria says that she hopes we will have sample projects in the space dyed yarns. I actually just finished a scarf in the space dyed yarn, but it's at home. I need to block it and then bring it in and take
and
photos.
we need to put my projects back up.
Yes,
So,
we need to be better about getting that all photographed.
okay,
and-
so we'll
Yeah.
get those up. away from the table and put Helen
Okay.
on for the next part of this. So many of you have probably talked to Helen and may never have seen her before, but here she is, and we're gonna,
I'll just stay here and keep you all
Yeah.
company. How's that?
so we're gonna talk technique here.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Helen. I'm the
And you're
pinch
very, very
hitter.
tall.
I'm in the very tall chair. Pinch hitter for these Zooms usually, and helping out with behind the scenes stuff. But I like technique and talking about knitting in general. So
Yeah.
we thought we would chat a bit about cast-ons.
Well, let me slow down 1 second. So we were talking about our Zooms yesterday in our management meeting we have every Wednesday. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. And we thought it would be a really neat thing to add to our once a month Zoom is to have a little thing. And we named it Technique Corner just for a little something because it's kind of neat. And this is sort of like in a way, our little guild meeting. We tell you about our stuff, but we also want to share with you and have you guys have a chance to share with us too. So that's the preface. And then so today we thought we'd start at the beginning, which is cast-ons.
Absolutely. And Babs and I were talking yesterday about the two most common cast-ons that we can think of, which are the long tail and variations of that, and the backwards loop cast-on. And Babs, you were saying that you pretty much never use the backward loop.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I usually do the long tail cast on, or the twisted long tail cast on is actually my normal go-to, but I'll use backward loop if I need to add stitches in a project. So for the thumb stitches after you've put some on hold, or underarms, when you do sideways projects and you do the sleeve and then you have to cast on 30 this way, 30 that way for the body. So those are the times when I find the backward loop really helpful, because I'm less inclined to add a second strand to start a long tail cast on there.
Yeah. So so sometimes with the long tail cast on, one of the annoying things is having not enough tail.
Yes.
So I learned a trick a while back because I would say long tail cast on's my default too. Like I think a lot of us, it's the one I learned first and it's my default. But one of the tricks to not having that happen is actually use both ends of the skein when you start out and make your slip knot. And then don't include the slip knot in your actual stitch count because it's now doubled, and then do your cast on and then chop one of the yarns, make sure you're careful which one it is. But that saves a lot of aggravation and you still get.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, a long tail cast on is really a backwards loop plus a row of knitting.
Yeah.
So you're getting that nice edge to it, which is why I think we all go to it, or a lot of us do. And if you guys have any thoughts in your chat, like, what kind of cast-ons you like, please feel free to share. I also, and I've done it now a couple times. I think I shared with you part of this project last time. This is a cupcake that I'm knitting, the 1908. That's my cable needle sticking in there. The Thea Coleman's 1908. And I started it with a cable cast on. I had originally thought, oh, I'm going to be clever and I'm going to use a tubular cast on because that's a really neat cast on for edges of things that get a lot of wear, like cuffs or the bottom edge of a sweater or even a neckline. And because the cables on this aren't even, you have 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 together. It just looked horrible. So I ripped it all out and did a cable cast on, which gives a firm edge. It doesn't have that extra loop to it. It's sort of like a knitted on cast on, but you knit between the stitches.
Right.
So you get a nice little, you can see like sort of a ropey edge to it on the front side. Just have a nice little, almost like a binding. So that's one. And I actually used that when I designed the Saturday sweater.
Okay.
I used it to cast on the shoulder so it wouldn't stretch
Yeah,
down.
to
so
give
would
it
have
that
some
structure.
because it was a top-down sweater. I didn't want it to just fall off. So that's one I use fairly often.
We're getting a lot of love for the cable cast on in the chat.
Cool.
And a question about the yarn you're using, which is Cupcake.
This was our special intro right around Thanksgiving
Yeah.
time, and we had some at the sale. This is turkey red. The colorway is called turkey red. And
It's a Tweety worsted and we really like it, but we aren't able to keep it full time. We just don't have the space or the dyeing time.
yeah,
So our plan, and I think this is still the case, is to have it a couple of times a year in a set number of colors. And then when that sells out, we'll be without Cupcake for another couple of months until it's time to bring it back for another guest appearance.
but it's a lovely worsted weight. I love the body of it. It's nice round yarn.
Yep.
And
And the flecks of color make it very fun.
yep. I know some of you picked up some during the sale, so I hope you enjoy knitting it as much as I have so far. So this is the back. I decided to knit this pattern in pieces. I'm gonna do my little show and tell.
Sure.
And I'm almost to the underarms. I have like one more pattern repeat, and then I will be on the back, and then I'll join it all, sew it all together, and then do the sleeves. I'll be done.
Excellent.
So,
I am a big fan of knitting books. Cast on Bind Off, which is a nice resource and has different techniques, illustrations about how you do the particular cast on or bind off, and a discussion of why you might like that particular one. I don't know if we'll do this every time, if I'll be able to find a book for every occasion, but with my library, it's quite possible. So this is, if you're like me and you enjoy collecting books, this is a handy one for, it's got different decorative ones as well as the more standard cast-ons.
not to mention the bind off part of it, which we
Right.
haven't talked about today.
Right.
But yeah, that's, and as we were talking about, just, I have the book as well, and it is really interesting to see, like, we were talking about, like, casting on in pattern,
Right.
which is something that most of us don't even think about, really. And there are examples in the book.
Absolutely.
And
So,
Actually, there was,
yes, German Christmas.
Georgia talked about her favorite is cable cast on and alternating cable cast on
Uh-huh.
for ribbon.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep,
Which is-
example. Yeah.
Yep. So you were talking about doing alternating cast on, and I said I would probably just be lazy and do a backward loop cast on and then do the
Knit
first
full.
row in pattern,
Uh-huh.
which would be the same as if you were doing long tail and reverse long tail.
Yeah.
Have the same effect with maybe less effort, maybe not, because backward loop can be a bit finicky sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, because they get loose or stretched out. So,
Yeah.
Yes, and yay to the German twisted cast on, another really good one. And Veronica and I were actually talking about this earlier. It's like, I would use it all the time, except I forget it. I have to look it up. every time.
See, I
'Cause I don't
found it
cast on socks
a
as much.
couple of years ago, and I agree with Julie that it's a great cast on, and so I just started doing it for everything. And now it's my go-to, and I've got it down pat because I have cast on so many socks
Yeah.
using it. But it's great for the top of socks because it's a bit more durable and a bit more stretchy than the
Mhm.
regular cast on.
Yep, and it's just 2 more moves.
Yep.
But-
Yep.
Yep.
Just that added twist.
Okay.
Yep.
So, any other questions or thoughts about, cast-ons?
No, don't know. Do we have any other questions? Nope.
Okay, so are we,
I think we can end the recording and go into show and
wait,
tell. Oh, no,
one more
Lynn says
thing,
there's one more thing.
thing that I forgot to put on our list before. I wanted to announce that we're gonna do a kind of casual knit along starting next Friday, and it'll be Eastern Time Fridays from 3 to 4:15 or so. And we're gonna invite some folks from our studio to participate who want to learn some more. And it's just gonna be casual. Up, and we'll send that out in the newsletter probably Thursday, but
Yep.
yeah, but please feel free to reach out to us and we'll get you on the list.
with no real agenda?
No real
or-
agenda, just come and hang out and knit, and if you have questions, we'll find the answers to your questions, and maybe ask you the answer to the questions, because that happens sometimes. Yeah, I felt like this year felt a little bit more, people wanted to be a little more relaxed and a little, we've had all these years of stress. We wanna
Right.
Just
We don't-
enjoy ourselves.
We don't want to
together.
focus on anything and have to do anything. So this is more
Right.
free.
Yeah. So we hope you'll join us.
Okay.
So it'll be
so-
next Friday at 3. So that's all the announcements.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording and we're gonna move